Welcome to this explanation by Common Sense Companies on how we serve our veterans. We believe you are in the right place at the right time to do something that is both socially significant and emotionally satisfying by helping men and women who have given so much to get a benefit that they have earned. The information we provide allows people to make the best decisions for themselves and their families. We give them specific and superior information in the areas of life planning. The Veterans Aid and Attendance Benefit is little known and fairly underused. Many people who have applied for this have been denied, and those who have inquired about it become discouraged by the preponderance of paperwork and the daunting application process. This is why it is necessary to have someone who gets to see these forms on a regular basis and is an expert to assist you in filling these papers out. It is more than likely you will only be filling these papers out once in your lifetime, so why not have the big advantage of an expert's help? It ensures that the application will be filed properly. The benefits can be acquired if the filing and the follow-up are done correctly. Now, let's expand on the Veterans Aid and Attendance Benefit. Currently, there are 400,000 veterans and widows receiving this benefit, but it is estimated that there are nearly 4 million who are eligible and not receiving the benefit. That should prompt the question, why? Well, as mentioned before, it is a very detailed process. The application is very time-consuming and can be confusing, especially for seniors. So once they've been told that they don't qualify, they tend not to consider filing again. However, if the application had just been filled out and structured properly, they would have qualified. It's very similar to the way people qualify for tax deductions with the help of an expert accountant. This slide shows what a qualified veteran can receive as additional tax-free income. This is very interesting, and we would like you to remember that most people are turned down for this benefit simply because they did not possess the expertise that we will willingly supply them at no cost. Imagine showing a veteran, a veteran's family, or the widow of a veteran that they could get this kind of income to help them with their care and medical expenses just by having access to Common Sense Companies' expertise. This is a significant benefit, and it's tax-free. Please understand it will not affect your Social Security. Now, let's discuss how a person first establishes their eligibility. If a person served during any of these listed conflicts, is unable to perform one of the 6 activities of daily living safely, and no longer drives, they are eligible. There are also some outstanding medical conditions that will help veterans qualify. However, they still need to have an accurate and complete application, and that is where we intend to help you. Please remember, no one is here to sell you anything. We're here to tell you what's available. You may watch this as many times as you would like in your own home with your friends and hopefully your adult children. If you decide you wish to proceed, we will send you an intake form to gather the necessary information before we apply to the VA. If we discover there are barriers to your getting this benefit, we will explain what we need to do to remove the barriers. The only thing we ask is that you cooperate with us, because we do this free of charge. We don't have time to waste, as we need to find as many veterans and widows who need our help and generally want our help. Now, you can see Grace is 72 years old. She is a widow and she has dementia. She is going into a nursing home and will pay over $6,200 each month. Right now, her income is just over $1,000 per month, so there will be a significant shortfall. That means the amount that will have to be taken from her savings every month will be over $5,000. While she has a substantial amount of money since her husband died leaving a fairly large 401k, she is only 72 years old and has a life expectancy of another 14 years. This is interesting. Grace is a widow. She was a nurse in the service herself and has 2 daughters. However, she has dementia, and her daughters have to make decisions for her because she can no longer make them on her own. So we will enjoy working with the daughters and getting them educated about this process. Now, this page shows how the Veterans Administration looks at your stuff when you're qualifying for the Aid and Attendance Benefit and also for Medicaid. To help someone qualify for aid and attendance without examining what happens when Medicaid eventually comes around is absolutely to the detriment of the veteran. This planning needs to be done simultaneously. Even if a person thinks they are not going to need Medicaid, it's better to have planned for it and not need it than to need it and not have planned for it. Sadly, in many cases, financial people do a poor job of planning for it because they are only interested in getting the veteran's money into an annuity. But what they don't realize is that very annuity that helps them qualify for aid and attendance could disqualify them later when they apply for Medicaid. This is a very specialized area of expertise. So now let's look at this sheet. A person has three types of assets. They have exempt assets, countable assets, and unavailable assets. Exempt assets are simple. You can read down this list. This is a standard operating procedure, meaning it is done the same way each and every time, no matter where it is done in the country. It is always exactly the same. The only amount that changes is the amount that certain states allow you to protect. For example, Missouri is $2,000, and some states are more than that. Now, remember, you can stop this at any time and take as much time as you need to look at it. Now, we know what exempt assets are, so let's talk about countable assets. Countable assets are the everything else assets, or anything else you have that is not an exempt asset. Usually, this means all of your cash, savings, investments, and anything else of value. Okay, so now let's look at unavailable assets. Most states allow you to use what's called an OBRA 93 compliant annuity. However, New York and New Jersey have a special set of rules. They ignore the federal mandate, so they have the ability to gather up even more of the client's assets. It's that simple. In those states, we help clients set up an asset protection trust. We do that in other states too, to protect assets from predators and creditors, and sometimes even protect them from other family members getting at their money. This strategy is all about protecting the assets, helping the veterans and even non-veteran seniors hold on to what they have worked a lifetime to accumulate. Once we have placed things in the asset protection trust, they are no longer available or visible, and we have done nothing more than move the assets from the countable assets column to the unavailable assets column. This is basic accounting, similar to what accountants do for their clients every day. This is a synopsis of exactly what happens in Grace's personal scenario. She has countable assets of $732,000 on the left-hand side. She will be spending $62,004 each year for nursing home care. Her life expectancy is 14 plus years. So we are going to multiply that number, and the total is going to go up to $868,056, which will be lost for her nursing home care and will reduce her countable assets to zero. Now, nursing homes are entitled to be paid. They do a wonderful job. However, the longer Grace lives beyond her life expectancy, the worse our scenario will get, because her family might be burdened with this bill. Frankly, though, I don't see how it can get any worse, because her entire $732,000 will be taken away from her for the course of her care. All she will be left with is the $2,000. We tell people how they can stop this. Sometimes people's investment advisors cannot help because they are barred from even doing this for them. Sometimes they will not help them because they don't want to lose control of the person's assets. Why? Because they receive a benefit, whether you make money or not, for the assets they hold under management. Once we get involved, we give people places to put their assets safely where they have no risk. The brokers run upset with the knowledge that people have no chance of losing their money where we place it. If people want to take risk and want to work with someone else, we cannot help them. Our attorneys might be able to continue helping them, but common sense companies will not put anyone's assets at risk. As we get older, we need to be more concerned with the return of our money, not the return on our money. We protect it. We pass all the risk on to the insurance companies or the investment companies, and none on to the client. Now, on the right-hand side of the page, you'll see what our changes have helped Grace to do. We cannot stop the bleeding completely, but we can reduce it down to $41,220 a year. The difference is, in 5 years, Grace becomes Medicaid assistance eligible. That means her total exposure to the nursing home will be $206,100 instead of $868,056 with our help. The longer she lives past her life expectancy, the better her scenario, because we have protected $422,980 of her assets. At a normal life expectancy, her benefit will be about $307,000. But as she lives longer, that amount will go up each year because the VA decides to make an increase to those receiving that benefit. They usually increase by a few percentage points each year. Now let's take a look at the difference between the left-hand side of the page and the right-hand side of the page before we help and after we help. Before we help, Grace is left with 0 on the left side of the page. You have $720,000 plus deleted from her family if she just lives a normal life expectancy. Either way, what has been the impact on her family's future because she had a common sense company review and our assistance? There's a significance of emotional satisfaction in helping veterans and the veteran spouses with this type of information either way. You can easily see what the impact has been on her family's financial future. What we have done is both socially significant and has a high degree of emotional satisfaction in helping a veteran or the widow of a veteran. Now, from the beginning, we have been talking about common sense companies removing the barriers. This slide, which I think you will find interesting, shows you exactly how we do that. We dissolve the barriers by making sure the applications are filled out correctly and the assets are placed correctly. As a direct result of that, without the barriers, the veterans or the widow can receive the money. The key is removing the barriers according to the VA guidelines and Medicaid guidelines. There is nothing else other than following the guidelines that are difficult. However, not when you do them on a weekly or daily basis. Now, this slide gives us a wonderful thumbnail sketch of what we are able to do in several different situations. These qualification worksheets are abbreviated, so you won't be able to glean too much from them except the end result. In the upper left-hand corner is what we did for a married veteran who is 92 years old and served in World War II. As you can see in red, he does not qualify for the VA pension. However, after we had a common sense review, we were able to preserve $326,712 of his assets and qualify him for the maximum annual benefit in tax-free income under the additional pension benefit. Like I said, you're not going to get a great deal of information from this, but it does a great job of showing the end results of what we can do. Again, you can come back as often as you want, as many times as you want, until you feel comfortable with the information we are able to provide for you. Now, if you go down to the right-hand corner of the page, you'll see a widowed spouse of a Vietnam veteran. She is 62 years old. Before her common sense company review, her total assets at risk were only $127,570. She did not have a great deal of money, but still she did not qualify for the VA pension benefit. However, after her review, most of her assets were protected, at least $111,472, and she qualified for the VA pension benefit. Due to her young age and life expectancy, she could collect $301,819.32 or more in tax-free income to help her family care for her over her lifetime. We enjoy an uncommon sense of satisfaction in providing unbiased, up-to-date, and accurate information to others. We believe when people have the best information, they get the best results. Well, I'm sure you found this information both interesting and enlightening, giving you insight as to what we can do at Common Sense Companies. It should be apparent that our work is both socially significant and emotionally satisfying to us. Knowing we were able to help veterans and that we generally make a difference in people's lives just by passing on this good information and lending our expertise in helping people get through a difficult system. Please get together with the person or persons who introduced us to you or who made this explanation available. There are many times that we do communicate with our clients long distance since there is no reason for us to be running back and forth between offices. Our job is to help you get this benefit as seamlessly as possible. However, the one thing we do need is your cooperation. We will be sending you an additional articulated explanation that you can listen to. Please allow our associates to help you get the paperwork together because we know exactly what they need and will be sending you a list. We will also make available online a properly filled out application so you can take advantage of seeing exactly what you need to do. It will cut the time frames for doing this from hours down to an hour of your time. There are other benefits available to seniors, so please lend a helping hand and direct people to this explanation. If that person is not computer savvy, please help them watch this so they will feel comfortable and you will feel comfortable. I can assure you, you'll be glad you did. Remember, the veterans have earned this benefit for both them and their spouses. This is not an entitlement program. It's an additional pension that a veteran has earned. They just need help in acquiring it and completing the paperwork. Please take some pride in the fact that you will be able to hand this off to the VA and maybe give a veteran and a spouse or a widowed spouse a hand up and make the remaining years of their lives be spent with income and dignity.